I am unashamed. What about you?
Welcome back to the Unashamed podcast. Zach, it's been crazy down here. So Lisa and I were in Gulf Shores at our southern lair, and so we came home to do podcasts, and Lisa's speaking this week up here. And so there was predictions that we were going to have snow yesterday here. And so the kids were already out of school. They
let them out of school.
Oh, yeah. But it wasn't because of the snow. They had a teacher in service, but the kids are out. They're ready. We're right after MLK Day. And so they're all excited, getting ready to build their snowman. They've pulled out all their warm clothes and their gloves. And so North Louisiana is going to be, a white January. And we get nothing. I mean, not even a flake.
Well, hang on. Stop the presses. Where's my button, Maddie? Oh, still don't have the button. Look, you know what I'd like to have? Look at here.
She found it.
The button is back.
The button is back. Thank you.
I was hoping the cricket noise would go away.
Thank you, 11-year-old son.
Hold on. Rim shot. You know what we need is a button that has like a car going from 70 to 0.
Like screeching halt?
Like a screeching halt.
So, Maddie, find that for us, because Al just said not a flake. So, because I went duck hunting yesterday.
Yep.
And I took a picture that I will share with our viewers.
So there was a flake, you're telling me?
Oh, no. Well, I'll have to go back because I took some other pictures.
There wasn't a flake at my house because I checked on my video.
This was at, I think, 3:45 a.m. as I went to warm up my truck. I took a selfie.
Yeah.
That's the hood of my truck.
There's a few flakes. Not enough to cover, but a few flakes.
That's called frost. That's not snow.
No, it was actually falling from the sky, and it fell for 5 minutes.
That was it.
I would say I have maybe 100 flakes on camera.
So I stand corrected. Jay says there was 100 flakes.
Yeah.
So here's what happened, and it happens every couple of decades, I guess. We'll have this cold, super cold air, polar vortex, whatever you want to call it. It'll come down, and we get maybe what you say, snow a year, snow every other year, maybe here
every other year.
Yeah. But every once in a while, it'll come over us, this super cold air, but there won't be any moisture here. But it gets down south, and you'll have some of that Gulf moisture come over the top of that super cold air, and they'll get a little bit of snow. Well, this year,
somebody's been watching the Weather Channel.
Oh yeah, I know my stuff's that. This year, it was a blizzard. It was literally a blizzard along the Gulf Coast. So when we left Gulf Shores, they said we might get some snow, and I'm like, yeah, right. And so I'm going where there's going to be snow. We come to West Monroe, we get 100 flakes on Jase's truck. In Gulf Shores, where I left, because a friend of ours is staying at our house, I mean, it's 9 inches of snow in Gulf Shores, Alabama.
We thought that we were fixing to see more ducks than ever before. We're like, it's snowing in I guess we got to call it now, the Gulf of America.
The Gulf of America.
Yeah. Right. It's snowing in the Gulf of America. Oh, wow. That makes me think, well, they're like, this Trump, he's changing everything. He changed the name, and all of a sudden it started snowing there. There's the sign.
The Almighty says, yes, we're going to snow in the Gulf of America.
And the people, they're like, global warming it's something. But I'm not sure.
Global warming, but they're ice skating in New Orleans in the streets.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're literally ice skating on Canal Street. I saw a video of that this morning. I was like, things are cold when there's ice skating from the packed snow in downtown New Orleans in the French Quarter. I mean, it's just insane.
Well, that did not translate to us. We got, as soon as it got legal shooting hours, a bunch of teal came in. It was only 5. Boom, 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 boom. We got 4 of them. We left 1 for the next generation. And we never fired another shot.
And getting teal early, typically duck hunting, means, it may be on.
I mean, we had an ice hole. We had a little deep place. I don't think that's going to freeze. The whole place is iced up. We had a perfect ice hole made by just nature.
Yeah.
We didn't have to make it. It froze up everywhere.
All of our water's been freezing. You put the dog bowl out at night, it's solid ice the next
But then it made me think, well, no wonder we didn't see any because the ducks usually move south in things like extreme temperatures or snow because it covers up all the crops. But I thought, well, why would they come down? Because what's south of us
It's worse.
is worse. They're not, and so it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. And,
Well, they're saying this is one of the coldest Januaries on record. I mean, this is. I mean, even
well,
up here,
I got a
it's been-
question, Zach.
Yeah,
Where are the ducks?
that is a good
They're
question.
not here. This is the first time I've ever seen it this cold,
So
and
they're
there's
not even-
snow.
They're not there.
They're not at our place. And what few ducks we had left.
And where did they go? Because it's cold.
Where are they at?
They're in Mexico.
Look, I didn't even go this morning before this podcast. Duck season's open. It's only open for 4 or 5 days. I didn't go
some stuff.
because I thought it might be all iced up. And so your
Well, it would have been because it got to teenager teens last night.
your son-in-law is hunting.
Yeah.
And well, look at here. And they went out, and there was one place that was open, that was not frozen. They had not fired a shot until 2 minutes ago. They shot.
So you're doing real time now.
Oh, real time.
How many did they shoot?
Well, they had. I was gonna say they hadn't fired their guns, but they shot 2 wood ducks. So
That's when you feel good about your decision not to go this morning. You're like, it's a gamble, but you've
Oh,
no FOMO for you, Jase.
oh, Jase, they should have taken my lead.
But it was interesting because Jase was a couple of minutes late getting there this morning. And so I was like, and he's wearing partial camo. And I said, well, did you hunt this morning? He said, oh, no, Missy came home. And it was a lot of conversation. So she had a lot of catching up to do.
Missy talked last night. She walked in the door, and my wife's not a big talker.
Right.
She talked because I was like planning on preparing a little Bible study prep. She talked for hours. I've never seen her. I think this woman missed me.
Where'd she come from? Where was she at?
She was in Nashville. Our
She was celebrating
second,
a grandchild.
yeah, our second grandson did the happy birthday. Remember I told you I sang a solo to him. But halfway into the song, I think I lost him. Because he was at their birthday party, and there were people all around. I got halfway through. He just, we were FaceTiming. And he's like, okay, I'm out of here.
I'm out.
J-Rock.
Attention spans are short.
Short attention span for the time.
Then he went, and Missy got him a bunch of outfits. It's like a box that's filled with outfits that we got the little one that we keep from time to time. He got the same box, and he's all about the firefighter. So she got him. Well, you know what he picked? Because, there's a policeman, there's a firefighter, there's a doctor.
Was this the village people?
There's it may be. There's like an outdoorsman, like a guide. And there's one that's a chef.
Yeah.
That's the one he chose. And he cooked for everybody imaginary. And she's like, he wants to be a chef. So I thought, and my son.
I was going to say, his dad's a pretty good cook.
Is a good cook. And I thought, you know what? We did something right. As far as our cuisine, because somehow he figured out these people can cook.
Yeah. It is kind of interesting, Zach. I mentioned the village people that there's been a lot of similarities in Trump's now second term and Reagan's second term. They were both inside, because of the cold. There was just some little historical ironies, I guess you could say. But I did laugh because I thought, and Trump brought the village people back.
Well, at the end of the day, I heard someone say this one time a while back, and I used to agree with this statement, then I disagreed with it, and now I agree with it again. And
so is that flip flopping or growth?
I have flip flop.
Okay.
I wrongly diagnosed where we were at culturally, with a lot of the progression of what we went into the last probably 8 years. But the phrase was this: it's all about the money. And then I was like, I don't know. I think these people they're about the ideology. They don't
bigger
care
than
about
money.
the money. But now I'm here to tell you that it's all about the money. Follow the money. So,
I'm giving you an applause because it's very hard for a Robertson to ever say I was wrong, and Zach did it.
He
so
just did it.
Thank you, cousin. because I know that's difficult.
We can relate to your Robertson half that was hard to do.
You know what? Willie says he said, no, you're not. You're half Robertson. I'm a Dasher. My last name's Dasher. And he said, you're half Robertson. I'm like, well, you're actually a half Robertson too.
Well, that's what Gimber said. He said, we're all half Robertsons. I was like, he's right. I don't have an answer for that.
I've never thought about it.
Yeah, we're all halves because you and I, Jase, are half Caraway, which is interesting because Mom, speaking of a lot of words, I went down the other day and she went into because I had an old picture. It was really interesting because it's my grandmother and she's got 5 of her kids with her and Cy is a baby and she's holding Cy on her lap. So this thing was taken in 1948 or 9 probably. And Dad is just a little toddler. He's about the size of Dave. He looks like he's between 2 and 3 in the picture. And so I took it out there to show it to him because a guy, one of our distant cousin-in-laws or somebody from Arkansas, sent it to me. It came here. And I'm so glad it wound up in my hands. And because Dad looks just like me. There's not many eras where Dad and I look a lot alike, except when we were 3 years old. I mean, in fact, it looked just like the pictures of me at that age. And so I was showing it to them. Well, that began Dad was really interested because with what he's struggling with, he does really well going back and telling old stories.
Yeah.
And so we talked about it, quite a bit of it. But then Mom goes back. Her family's from Bro Bridge, and she went down and saw them. And because we have a Cajun influence on our other half, which may explain why we like the food and all that so much. I don't know.
Maybe so. I don't know. But so then during the night, I was awakened, and Missy was talking in her sleep. I've never heard her talk in her sleep. And then this morning, because I get up early.
So literally, she's still talking.
I thought, she's still talking, and I just rolled over. And then this morning, she got out, and she was talking more. I was like, boy, I tell you, babe, I'm glad we've gotten caught up. And so I was actually 2 minutes late because I just hated to interrupt and say, babe, I got to go.
Especially when she was on such a roll.
Yeah, it was funny.
All right, so we need to take a break. We got a guest coming on. We're super excited about it. She's been on the podcast before, so we're going to welcome her back. We'll do that on the other side of this break. So, Jase, I think it's safe to say that our family has been in the pro-life movement for a long, long time. I mean, it's been a big part of who we are. I think it's because we recognize new life in Christ. So by nature, we're going to be fighting for, babies that hadn't been born yet.
Yeah, and it is one of the foundational principles of the Bible. It's about life.
So the current movement has changed a lot because of the abortion pill, which has made it easier, unfortunately, for abortions to happen. But the good news is, there is some good news, and our friends at Preborn tell us about it, is there's the abortion pill reversal treatment, because a lot of women will take this abortion pill and then start having second thoughts and think, well, there's no opportunity to do better, but there is. And Preborn Ministry is part of that empowerment that helps women reverse this curse, which we love. Preborn's network of clinics are on standby for women in their darkest hour, and they meet them with God's love with free services to help them choose life. Through ultrasound and the abortion pill reversal protocol, Preborn has rescued over 300,000 babies. Start the new year right by supporting life and supporting Preborn. One ultrasound is just $28, and $140 will help rescue 5 babies. So we're asking you to help us out. Dial pound 250 and say the keyword baby. That's pound 250 baby, or donate securely at preborn.com/unashamed. That's preborn.com/unashamed. Welcome back to Unashamed. We're super excited. Sarah Gable Seifert is back on our podcast. Sarah Gable, welcome back to Unashamed.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So we had your husband, Michael, on before you. He told us about Public Square. Then we had you on to talk about Every Life, and we're going to talk more about that in a little bit. But how are you guys doing? How's Michael doing? How is 2025 working for you guys?
Thanks for asking. Family's doing wonderful. The business is doing exceptional. I'm so excited for 2025. It's a new year, and it feels like our country is stepping into a new season. We obviously just experienced the inauguration, which I'm sure we're going to talk a little bit about on the show today. But in regards to Every Life, we're just growing and we're scaling and we're impacting more families and our reach. And we have new products now. And so we're really turning into a baby brand that is all about celebrating every miraculous life. No other diaper company will say the same. Can you believe that? It's still wild to me to say that out loud, that baby brands are not supporting every single precious life designed and orchestrated by God. And I'm just so thankful that we're a solution to parents that are so passionate about shopping their values and supporting the things that matter most, which is family. And so I'm really looking forward to this new year.
And so you probably didn't know this, but I am going to give you a real life testimony, because we're keeping a little one that we view as kind of dropped from the heavens. And
it was kind of a foster situation, but uniquely, Jase and Missy. So.
And we're helping the mom, and we're kind of like the grandparents' role in some way. But anyway, we just got, because he's fixing to be 3, and we're going through the potty training transition. And we just got, my wife ordered probably way more than she needed, because I know we're partners with y'all, of the pull-ups. And look, when I told her that you were coming on today, and she's been talking a lot. She's been in Nashville. We actually talked about that in our first section. And I thought, she really missed me. She's talking more. And I said, well, what do you want me to tell her about the pull-ups? Give me the news, good or bad, if we need to make some changes. She said, they're awesome. And she gave about 7 qualities that I can't remember off the top of my head, but they're light, they're sturdy, they're comfortable, they're easy to work with. And so I was like, well, fantastic. I'm going to bring that up. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Thank you for making a quality product for a greater quality issue in our world.
Well, you're very welcome. And I'm really grateful to be partnered with your family. And it warms my heart to hear that it's working, it's performing, it's doing the job. And to your point, we have the excellent product, but more than that, we're really about supporting the pro-life movement and helping parents choose life for their babies. And that's what it's all about. So thank you for being on the screen with us.
Diapers are important at every phase of the operation, but it's been a few years for me since my grandkids were small enough to be in diapers. But I will say, Jase, that the pull-up era, when they're on the move, the structure of the product is even more important to work properly. Otherwise, we can leave some messes around the house. So
I'll be honest. My role in that has been, okay, bud, you got to keep this on the whole night here, So that's a different story.
They like to be free.
Well, yeah. He was like, no, I've made the transition. I'm like, no, let us decide when that transition is made.
So Sarah Gable asked something before we came on air, and I want you to answer, because we said we were going to save it, because she said, you said, well, we're in duck season here. And Sarah Gable was telling what you asked. Say that again.
Well, I was curious, what does that look like for your family?
And I said,
it's a pretty big question.
It was a big question, because Jase's eyes, there was a bit of a sparkle and a bit of a glaze that happened.
She was like, it's a new year. What's that? I know it's all busy. And I was like, well, it's duck season. And you were like, oh, really? What's that look like? And
for you and your family?
Yeah, I said, I think we're going to have to save that. I can't answer that in 10 words or less, because you'll find this fascinating.
Jase, you can't do anything in 10 words or less, so.
That's probably true. You'll find this fascinating. So, our story's been well documented. My dad, he has 2 master's degrees. He has the skill level to be an NFL quarterback, but he turns all that down, and mainly because his life was just a wreck. And he comes to the Lord, has this huge transformation, and he decides that he's just going to go out, live out in the middle of nowhere, and be a better dad, a better husband,
better Christian,
godly man, and just live off the land. And he's like, I'm going to make a living building duck calls and fishing the river. And so part of that building the duck calls was we hunted every day of the duck season. And he was like, we're testing our products. And somewhere in that, at 8 years old, when he started taking us hunting, I just found a peace with the outdoors, and I guess, their lives have been transformed. Well, I've hunted most of the days of every duck season including when I went to school. He would allow me to use my sick days. And he said, tell them it's duck fever, which I did. And he said, as long as you make good grades, he's like, if they give you those sick
Gotta get
days,
your word done.
He's like, no, that makes you go every other time when you just have a little cold. And so I did that. And so what happened in the process is I've noticed that every year I will work really hard for 9 months. But there's a 3-month period of life that I feel like I need to be reborn. You get where I'm going here? 9 months, 3 months. And so I clear my schedule and I hunt almost every day of the duck season. I always have. And I don't use it just for good cuisine with the ducks, but, we train young men how to be great men for the Lord in the duck blind setting, having conversations and all that. But I've always done that since I was 8 years old. And so when you said, it was hard to explain that. I was like, our whole life stops, in a way, and we have this part of our life that we continue the tradition.
Well, we also figured out how to do ministry in something we love to do, which brings me back to you, Sarah Gable, because I want you to, you said this the last time you were on the podcast, but I want you to remind our audience of what got you into this space that you're in with Every Life and everything you're doing. Tell a little bit about that from when you started in California and kind of your experience as a PRC director and everything that kind of got you here.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually have to start with sharing about a dream that God gave me in the night with this issue around abortion. And at the time, it was 2019, and it wasn't something that I was thinking about day in and day out. But after that dream, I quite literally woke up and said, God's trying to show me something. And I need to listen, I need to pray, and I need to respond. And so I went through a journey with my husband, Michael, just really being intentional with asking the right questions, evaluating where God wanted me to go for such a time as this. And it led me into being a part of an incredible pregnancy resource center. And I got to meet with hundreds of vulnerable women that were going to choose abortion. And I got to sit with them, listen to their stories, listen to their concerns, really ask the right questions, be very prayerful in the conversations, let them see their child, their life growing in their womb on an ultrasound machine and seeing these light bulb moments go off for them. And it was the most humbling, incredible journey of a lifetime, watching these women over and over again go from I'm choosing abortion to actually I'm going to choose life. And I'm excited about being a mother because I know that there's an assignment for me and my life to be a mom. And I can't even tell you how many lives I saw saved, not only the baby in the womb, but the mom's life being saved because they realized they had a God that wanted to be there for them, to love them, to protect them, to walk with them through this journey so they're not alone. And I'm just so thankful for that time because it really inspired me to see the need that was so great for these women to have the practical essentials that they need to be supported to walk into motherhood. And that's really what led us into Every Life, because we started to realize that every major diaper company on the market today is supporting abortion, either vocally or financially. And I'll call them out because it's true. It's Huggies, it's Pampers, it's Hello Bello, it's Honest, it's Coterie, every single one of them. And I was stepping into motherhood at the time as well. And I couldn't put my hard-earned money toward a company that didn't support my own child's life. And so my husband and I, we just felt so obligated and a duty to come up with a solution for parents. And we launched back in July of 2023. So we're only 18 months old, but we're now the fastest growing diaper company in America today. And I think it really shows there are a lot of families out there that care about supporting life and putting their dollars to places that actually support their values. And I'm really thankful for that.
Jase, we talked recently, we're on a podcast about cell phones in a duck blind. Sometimes you need to know about the weather. You may need to check and make sure everything's okay at home. But sometimes it's hard to get coverage out there in the great wilds that you travel.
It's actually, we turn it into a positive because we're in creation. We're hunting. Put your cell phone in the little box here and you can get it back after the hunt is over.
So if you're looking for a good cell phone coverage, you may want to check out Patriot Mobile. They're a Christian conservative wireless provider. They offer a way to vote with your wallet. to defend our rights and our freedoms. With Patriot Mobile, you get outstanding nationwide coverage because they operate on all 3 major networks. If you have cell phone service today, you can get cell phone service with Patriot Mobile with a coverage guarantee. The difference is every dollar you spend supports First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, our veterans, and our first responders. They also support great causes that we love, like Alliance Defending Freedom, Folds of Honor, Mercury One, and Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life America. Switching is easy. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade. Their 100% U.S.-based customer support team will help you find the perfect plan for you. Right now, go to patriotmobile.com/Phil, or you can call them at 972-PATRIOT and get a free month of service with the promo code PHIL. Switch to Patriot Mobile today. Defend freedom with every call and every text that you make by visiting patriotmobile.com/Phil, or you can call them at 972-PATRIOT.
That's awesome. I was telling Al before you came on, I was watching, because it's duck season, and my wife calls it the ordeal, because the sleep is a problem, and us doing podcast, it's just crazy, and she's been in Nashville. And so we're talking, and I was trying to get caught up on the inauguration, because I was like, what happened? And because everybody was talking about, boy, this first day was a doozy.
Oh, yeah.
And so she walked out of the room, and I just thought, I wonder what other news channels are talking about, because I had it on Fox, and it was just kind of a celebration type moment. And the first one I went to, they weren't even talking about the inauguration. They were honoring the life. Evidently, the CEO of Planned Parenthood had died, and they were doing this tribute. And I thought, is this where we're at in life? You know, where you're not excited about, I get it, we're all political, we're a divided country and all this, but I thought, really? This is what we're going to celebrate, today? And it's just something in that moment. I thought, boy, there's work for us to do about what you're doing about making every life matter. And
how do you see that, Sergey, in terms of, obviously, and I want to hear, because you're in D.C. now, you're actually on the show in D.C. today, so I want to hear about your experiences at the inauguration before we talk about California. But you have a unique seat in this current battle that we have in the life issue. Lisa and I do as well, because we're very active and engaged. So what does that look like, do you think, in this coming 4 years with Trump? There's been some talk about trying to get Planned Parenthood defunded as well. I know a lot of the groups are really trying to push that, which will have to come through Congress. But so how do you see that? Because like Jay said, I mean, here we are at the inauguration, a new administration, and yet you still see the old battle lines are still there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. The fight for life is not even close to being over. And I'm so thankful that we have an administration stepping in that is more pro-life and pro-family. And man, I kind of want to talk about the inauguration for a second, because it goes kind of hand in hand to your question. But while the other side of the aisle is, talking about the things that are, to be honest, not what we need to be focused on, especially on the day when we're swearing in a new president, it's heartbreaking to hear that was their focus. But you look at what actually happened that day. I'm telling you, that inauguration ceremony was so beautiful, so moving, so powerful, and God was glorified. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with Pastor Lorenzo. He was actually there, one of the pastors.
Is he one from Detroit?
I believe so.
Yeah,
and,
he's
and
fantastic.
President Trump actually visited his church, they built a connection. And he said, if I win this election, I want you to be there on that day. And he was true to his word. And the prayer, I really would encourage all of your listeners to go and listen to the way that he prayed for the president, our country, our nation. And again, just how God was recognized, that we need him, that we need his wisdom. I was so encouraged to see that on such an important day with millions of people watching, to see God be the center. I was so encouraged. And then I'll also mention Second Lady Usha Vance was there with her 3 kids. And I loved that picture of just a family unit there on such, she could have easily said, it's too stressful to have my 3 young kids there on the stage. But what did she do? She said, no, I want to have my kids there because I know being a mother is the most important role that I can play in this season beyond anything else. We know that being a parent is the highest calling. And yet she brought her kids up there. And I just think it represents the time that we're stepping into, which is all about building strong families, because we know we can't have a strong nation if we don't have strong families. And I'm just excited to see an administration, new leadership that's taking that seriously. And I think we're going to see an impact across the nation from policy to culture in regards to this fight for life that is not over yet. And I'm encouraged because I think we're just getting started.
I did hear that prayer last night, of course, replayed, and it was incredible. It was just so earnest and real, and yet inspiring, in a prayer. It shows you what prayers can do. And by the way, the Bible's full of prayers like that. I mean, they're everywhere in the Bible. And what was interesting was, so in the show I was watching, they played the prayer, and then they had the pastor on their show. And so they were asking about it. Of course, you know how news shows go. They said, well, one of the commentators from one of the other networks said this, and then they put a post up that someone had said about his prayer. And it was so bad. I mean, it was like they compared him to having an old minstrel show, they called it. That was what they compared this man pouring his heart out in a prayer. But the reason I say it, I hate to even tell about it because it was so bad. But I loved his reaction because he smiled, and they were like, well, how do you react to that? He said, I'm praying for the president. I'm praying that you heard my prayer. You heard my heart. And I'm going to pray for this person too. He said, because obviously they need to know the same Lord I know. He just went right into his thing. He didn't say anything ugly. And I thought, man, that's the approach. I mean, the approach is we elevate. You don't have to get into the slime pit with these people. We're just saying we elevate to something greater or better. So It was inspiring for sure.
Was that your first time to be at an inauguration?
It was. And man, I got to tell you, it was something that I will remember and cherish for the rest of my life. And so I don't take lightly being able to be a part of such an incredible experience. And I'm really hopeful and I'm excited for where we're going as a country. I also thought it was really amazing to see the executive orders, even that President Trump was putting in place day one, that there's two genders, male, female, right? I mean, The amount of applause and celebration that came with a simple statement. Who would have thought we'd even have to be saying that from the stage at inauguration? But that's seriously what's at stake. We have people very confused about simple biblical truths that God created man and he created woman, and they were meant to be one, and we are called to be fruitful and to multiply. And so I'm just really excited that we're bringing back common sense. We're bringing back biblical truths. And I just think we're going to start to see the ripple effect when it's at the highest office, the highest position. And those are the things we're seeing. And those are the executive orders that are being put in place. That's going to have an impact on culture and society. And I'm very thankful for that.
So you were at the Capital One Center when they did the live stuff that day. Were you inside there and watching that part of it?
Yep. So my husband and I, Michael, we were inside of the Capital One Arena.
Yeah.
And I can't even tell you the vibe was so electric. I mean, everyone was just so excited and full of patriotism and honor and just proud to be an American. I think that's the best way to say it. I think everyone just felt this complete pride to be an American, to be here for such a time as this. And I leave that time almost wishing I could go back and relive it again, because I got emotional, to be honest. I got emotional thinking about, man, this could have looked a lot different on this day. It really could have. And I'm just so thankful we are where we are, and we are getting to praise God, and we're getting to kind of set a new trajectory for our country.
Here's a question for you. What is the gospel? The way you answer that question has a lot of significance in how you live your life out. And we would argue, based on the teaching of Jesus in the book of Mark, that definition of the gospel should not be separate from the coming of the kingdom based on Jesus's words in Mark. We're talking about this on my new podcast called Not Yet Now. Would love to invite you guys to join. We're going to go through this series on the book of Mark. We've already done one episode. We launch every Tuesday, and would love to have you guys be a part of it. So go check us out. Not Yet Now podcast with Zach Dasher. You can find us anywhere podcasts are heard. The title again is Not Yet Now with Zach Dasher, or you can check us out on YouTube as well at Dasher Zach, Z-A-C-H, at Dasher Zach. Hope to see you guys there.
I loved Sergey with the way that it was such a public inviting situation, because usually when executive orders are signed in the past, even when President Trump did it the first go around, it's in the Oval Office and, there's a few reporters there, and then, you sign with the different pens and they'll give those to people that, dignitaries and this type thing. And this was so different because it was almost like, because there was an arena with 20,000 plus people in it, it was like, this is for you guys. This is for America. We're doing this for you. And he's signing and the guys telling what they're for and people are cheering. And me just watching it, I was like, who's ever seen anything like this? Then he starts throwing the pens to the crowd. It's like, forget about the important dignitaries and all the people up here. These pens are for you. You're the ones that it matters. I don't know. I felt like, part of it is obviously Trump is an amazing showman in the sense that he knows, what engages people. But the other part is, I just feel like it's such a thing for people to be able to be a part of and engaged. And that was what came through to me just watching it. So I was really curious if you felt that in the arena, because it was amazing.
Oh, absolutely. He's a man for the people. And that's why I think so many people love and admire him, because he does have a way in which he invites people in. And I think Americans really do feel like they're being heard. Their voices are being heard. He's responding to the cries of Americans. We want safety back in our country. We want families being built. We want very simple things like costs going down. He's hitting on the topics that matter most to every single day Americans, and he's resonating. That's why he won. The people responded. And I'm just really thankful, even on that day, him throwing the pins out and engaging with the audience. Again, it makes people feel like I'm a part of this too. I'm not just a passive person sitting in the crowd. I actually am engaged with what's happening in our country. And we need that, because if we have passive Americans that aren't listening, that aren't responding, that aren't engaged, that's a problem. And so I'm thankful that I think he's really igniting people, motivating people to realize they have a seat at the table and their voice matters. And we need that in America.
Oh, no doubt. It's so good. So I want to shift gears because one of the reasons we wanted you to come on today was to tell about you and Mike are you from California or you just live there?
Well, we actually live in Florida now. But
I knew that you moved,
Yeah, we moved it to Florida, free state of Florida. We love it. And we were in California, though, for 7 years. And that's actually where we started Public Square, which is the parent company to Every Life. And so we have a heart for that state. And we're really thankful that we got to have that time there because it was needed, right? The Public Square mission and being able to help and serve a place that just, again, really needed a solution like Public Square and even launching Every Life there. It was really important. So we're in West Palm Beach now.
It reminded me of my dad always used to say when we were growing up, and it was so true, and Dad would say things, and at the time we didn't really understand it, but he always used to tell us, Jase, do you remember this? He'd say, everything good and bad comes from California.
Yeah, I never knew what he meant.
I didn't either.
He would say that. He said, boys, always remember this. It all good and all bad started in California.
That's what he said. Then it sweeps the nation.
I know he didn't read that in the Bible, so he read a book somewhere, but I always found that weird.
But it's true. So much you think about innovation, but you also think about things that aren't so good. So you guys were in California, which I wanted to transition because obviously we just had these wildfires there, which just devastated so much property, people's lives, everything there. It's been a terrible tragedy. And I know the political side of it and a lot of blame was going around, but ultimately someone has to be able to help people, and it's usually kingdom people that help other people. And so you began something that we are a part of as well. So I want you to tell our audience about that and what you guys are trying to do out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're spot on. So goes California, so goes the world.
That's right.
That's what we've always said, and it's absolutely true. But I'm really thankful at Every Life we're a company that wants to respond to crisis situations. That's how we've been from day one. It's really the reason why we exist, is to be a solution. And I even back up to when the Maui wildfires happened, and then even the Hurricane Helene and Milton, our response there, we rallied up our community of generous participants. And we did an initiative, even in those two examples, to be able to provide the essentials, diapers and wipes to families who were in urgent need. Helene and Milton, we were able to give over 1 million diapers to those families. And there's still being products being passed out in those areas because the need is still so great. And now here we are with the wildfires. And again, our team's response was, okay, what can we do to serve? How can we help? What partners can we come around to ensure that we're getting our products into the hands of the people who've lost everything? Can you imagine being that parent with their child and not having a diaper or a wipe to put on your baby? I can't even fathom. So what we did was we came around side you guys, which I'm so thankful for, our partnership, LA Dream Center, City Serve, Convoy of Hope. And we started to use our Buy for a Cause program on our website. And every single bundle, which is a whole month's supply of diapers and wipes, are being sent to these locations so they can distribute them to the families in need. We've been running this campaign for a few weeks now, and we've already had the opportunity of donating over 414,000 diapers and over 395,000 wipes. And we're not done yet. We're going to keep going because we know that these partners are telling us, again, the need is so great, and we're thankful that we can come in and help even in the smallest way.
So tell our audience where they can go, because just to remind folks, what Sarah Gable was mentioning, Jason and Missy do this, Lisa and I do this. There's a lot of people that get our age. We don't have kids anymore, and even our grandkids. Jace's grandkids are still little, but my grandkids are older. We don't have a need for this in our own personal household, but we want to be a part of this for other people. And so we buy diapers, we give to our PRCs, we give to our church, and have availability. And so there's a way to do this to help other people. So you guys do this all the time. You do it well. The fact that, as you described, that it's a pro-life company where the customers or life. Life is brought into that. It didn't make any sense what the other guys are doing. But tell folks where they can go to get information about this, whether to be a part of that or also to help out with this thing you guys are doing or we're doing in California.
Absolutely. So to help with some of the diaper needs for the wildfires in California, head to everylife.com/buy-for-a-cause. Again, if you just purchase a $50 bundle of diapers and wipes, we'll be sure to send those with our partnered organizations so they can distribute those on the ground to the families in need. Also, just head to everylife.com and learn more about our mission, why we exist. We have incredible subscription services where you can get our product shipped to your doorstep every single month. We're so much more, though, than a diapers and wipes company. I've already said that, but the biggest reason we exist is so we can help these families that really need them. And we've already donated in total since we started over 3 million diapers, mostly to pregnancy resource centers facing urgent needs so they can give it to a mom who has embraced life for their baby. I mentioned my experience in the pregnancy center. I know because I've talked to these women that actually a box of diapers can be the difference between life or death for that unborn baby. I'm telling you, so many reasons why a woman's going to choose an abortion is simply because she doesn't feel like she has the support, the help, the practical essentials to be able to move forward. And so I'm just really thankful that we get to help in that way, that our community gets to serve in that way. So we invite you to be a part of our mission where we're not only changing diapers, we're really changing lives.
Yeah, I love it. And you guys, we partner with you guys. Lisa and I did last year. Every event we spoke at, because we do a lot of PRCs ourselves, and you guys graciously donated some diapers to all of those centers. And then they picked a person that would get a year's supply of diapers as well. And so a lot of those were presented the night we were there, Sarah Gable, and just to let you know that I got to see their faces when they realized that they were going to get a year's worth of diapers and wipes, and just tears, joy, the things they experience. I mean, that's what you guys are about. I mean, you're right. It's life, but it's also the life of that mom, that situation, and we're talking about walking alongside them, which is really, really powerful. So thank you for what you do, and thank you for letting us be a part of it, because we love it. We talk about life a lot on this podcast. So,
well, I appreciate it. And thank you for being such proponents for life. We need it. We need more influencers and people like you guys that are unashamed in their values. And so thank you for partnering with us and being on this journey.
We'll give our best to Michael and what he's doing with Public Square. We love that as well. And man, thank you you guys for what you do in the ministry every single day. And we just feel like we're all out there everybody's in their lane doing their thing, but it's nice when we can cross paths from time to time.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sarah Gable. Safe travels. Thanks for listening to the Unashamed podcast. Help us out by leaving a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And don't miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube. And be sure to click the little bell and choose all notifications to watch every episode.